Brutal winter weather puts us in storm alert.
Winter storm warning until midnight tonight. Several inches of snow expected to accumulate through the day, plus another round on the way by midweek.
Avoiding a messy Monday on the roads.
How MoDOT and IDOT plan to clear the roads during this winter storm warning.
And I'm keeping an eye out on the roadways if you do have to venture out on this President's Day.
And I'm live in Wentzville as the city enters a snow emergency. Why you need to watch where you park so you don't have to pay up.
A new vaccine trial on track to get your kids vaccinated. How you can sign up for the groundbreaking effort at WashU.
You're watching Today in St. Louis.
You're waking up in storm alert as our region is under a winter storm warning and a wind chill advisory. This is a live look at Lee May Ferry. Our Mighty Joe Young is heading to a water main break. This is near 55, but you can see snow is starting to pile up all over the roads there. We'll check in with Joe in just a few minutes.
But the worst is really still to come, folks. You can expect 6+ inches of snow for most of the bi-state. Some areas may even see up to a foot of snow as we welcome you in on this bitterly cold Monday morning. It is President's Day, so a lot of the kids already have the day off, so that's the good news. February 15th, I'm Allie Corey.
Good morning, I'm Randy Knott. On the bottom of the screen, you'll have a list of school closures for those still heading into the classroom today.
And we have team coverage to keep you safe in these dangerously cold temperatures. Our Ryan Dean and Monica Adams are both watching the roads for you. Savannah Louie is in Wentzville as the city declares a snow emergency.
But first, let's send things over to Anthony Slaughter, who is tracking this winter weather. Good morning, Anthony. It's already becoming a mess.
Yeah, it's becoming a mess in some spots. I mean, the good news is a lot of folks don't have to venture out this morning. So if you do have the day off, kiddos are at home, just snuggle in and stay safe. Where the snow is falling right now is really on the Missouri side of the river from Interstate 70 back towards Montgomery and Gasconade County. Notice how things are drying out south of us. So really in this, I'd say between now and 7 o'clock, things are really going to start to improve. Once we get into lunchtime, that next round of snow, the heavier stuff, moves on in, and that will be with us through the evening and overnight hours before we dry out tomorrow for your Tuesday. So Monday is a cold one, staying snowy and windy. Winds today gusting up to 25 miles per hour with highs only in the single digits. So one of those days you don't want to have a stall or a breakdown. Just make sure your car is winterized. So speaking of cars, let's switch gears, toss things out to Monica. Tracking the morning commute seems a little dicey this morning with issues here and there. What's going on now?
That it has been, and yeah, and hopefully you have that winter weather kit inside your car. These are the days you need it most. 270 eastbound, 367, a stalled vehicle, but does have a lane block. 64 eastbound, a new crash coming in around Maryville Center Drive. Also 55 northbound to 270, that water main break near Lindbergh and Lee May Ferry. West 64, lanes blocked between 159 and 157, and then that issue downtown on 44 in the eastbound direction as you travel right near Washington. That snow coming down in Wentzville. They did just clear the incident for drivers at 270 and 367, so that's good news. That's only one lane getting by downtown, so a little treacherous in that area. And then we'll keep an eye out west for you as well. Our Ryan Dean at the Tam Avenue overpass out in the conditions for you. As Ryan's been mentioning, though, he jumps right back into the truck, keeping you safe on the roads. Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, Monica. Well, I grew up in Syracuse, New York. These cold temps certainly bring me right back to that spot for sure. But yeah, we're starting to see a little bit more snow falling down at a faster clip. It is a light blowing snow, so that could cause some problems on the road. Let me show you a live look at 64 here. And yeah, the issue is going to be with the cars in front of you making that kind of that blowing snow illusion. That could be a little tricky to find your lane. IDOT, MoDOT out in full force this morning. IDOT says they're really concerned with the front of this storm.
The saying is you can't win the Masters on Thursday or Friday, but you can certainly lose it. It's the same thing. We can't defeat the storm in the beginning of the storm. We can certainly put ourselves in a big hole that will linger for days.
IDOT says they have about 160 trucks out this morning. This is brand new video overnight shot by our Mighty Joe Young Also, MoDOT says they have 200 trucks out. Both are having to use chemicals to help the salt in this really cold weather stick to the roadway. They're actually using calcium chloride. MoDOT is using beet juice as well. Yeah, you heard me right. Beet juice mixed with salt will help the salt stay on the roadway. One thing they're asking, give the plows plenty of room as you make your way out this morning. You know, you think about the light traffic because of the holiday, also because of folks working from home. That is a blessing, but also can be a curse according to MoDOT, because when there's fewer cars on the road, folks tend to drive faster. That is the very latest here in the city of St. Louis. Let's send it over to Wentzville, where Savannah Louie is. Hey, Savannah.
Hey, Ryan, good to see you. You know, Wentzville is actually under a snow emergency this morning. They're really asking people to stay home if possible. But if you do need to leave the house, well, note that the parking is not permitted on public city streets. You could be ticketed or towed. At this time at home, you need to prepare for city crews treating the roads. Park your car in your driveway and block the sidewalk with your car. Do not shovel snow into the street. Instead, store it to the right of your driveway when you're facing the street, and clear fire hydrants of snow buildup. City crews will clear snow as close to the curb line as possible, and ultimately it is your responsibility to make sure mail delivery and trash collectors can access your mailbox and your trash. Now, this snow emergency is slated to end for Tuesday at 4 p.m. Of course, that is subject to change as the weather changes as well, but for now, our team coverage continues. We're going to send things out to our Mighty Joe Young, who's in South St. Louis, talking about a water main break. Hey, Joe.
Good morning, Savannah. Yes, I am on Lime Ferry Road near Allegheny, which is just south of Telegraph Road and Lime Ferry. And as you can see, there is water on the side. There are no crews here working on this main, and it's not affecting traffic. Luckily, it's just on the shoulder here, draining. So if you're in that area, use a little caution, because obviously that could freeze and cause some issues. But for the most part, it doesn't seem to affect the traffic flow. I'll have a look at the live commute this morning, but for now, let's send it back to the studio and Allie.
All right, Joe, thanks. Hopefully the heat is cranking in that car. This winter weather is rescheduling actually some of today's COVID-19 vaccine appointments in St. Louis County. The county health department says appointments at the Afton Fire District are now moved to Wednesday, and ones at the John C. Murphy Health Center have been rescheduled. We don't have a date yet for those. SSM also closed all of its testing sites. Illinois has closed all mobile testing sites, including the ones in the Metro East. Health Department did not say when they will reopen.
Not only are we tracking the heavy snow, but the current temperatures are dangerously cold. Spire is warning Missouri customers to conserve your energy because of an increase in the demand for gas. And you should also expect your bill to increase. Here are some ways you can conserve energy. Turn your thermostats down a few degrees, limit use of natural gas fireplaces. During the day, open the curtains to let the sunlight heat up your home, and make sure your doors are sealed so it doesn't let air in or leaks air out. But we're going to stay on top of this winter weather all morning long for you. If you do have to leave the house, be sure to have the 5 on Your Side app downloaded to your smartphone. You can track the snow coming into our area and take a look at the current temperatures. It's free to download in the App Store.
Already, we're following some breaking news from overnight. We hate to see anybody who has to be out in this cold, but firefighters, they were out battling this fire in South St. Louis. You can see there heavy smoke filling a 2-story building. This is right along Winnebago between Iowa and Ohio. There is significant damage to the structure here. At this time, we don't have any word of injuries.
A 15-year-old is dead after being shot in North St. Louis. That story tops our morning rush. Tashawn Ford died at a hospital on Saturday after someone found him in an alley off of St. Ferdinand Avenue. Police say an 18-year-old suspect was shot in the leg. A 70-year-old was also hurt in the shooting. So far this year, 8 kids under the age of 17 have been shot in the city. 5 have died. A police pursuit ended with an officer-involved shooting in Wentzville. It happened late Saturday night on Highway 61. Missouri State Highway Patrol says a man hit a patrol car that was chasing a woman driving 100 miles per hour. And when an officer and a trooper got out of their cars, the man tried to run them over. The officer then shot the man in the shoulder. No one else was hurt, but the man and the woman were arrested. The streets of Soulard were cold and quiet this weekend for Mardi Gras. The annual event went virtual this year because of the pandemic, but it's not over yet. The Barina Pet Parade is happening online tomorrow on Fat Tuesday. Judges, including yours truly, and 5 on your size Kelly Jackson, will pick the winning pets.
All right, it's a Monday morning. We are tracking snow this morning, but the heavier snow moves in this afternoon. That's the one thing you need to know in your weather forecast. That's when accumulation will really pile up and travel will be the worst this afternoon into the evening hours. All right, Monica, what is the one thing you're watching on the roads this morning?
Well, obviously they are snowpacked, and we're trying to either get you to possibly work from home or be well aware that you need to leave early and watch your speed. You can see only a lane getting by. The big crash we're following 44 eastbound at Washington.
All right, Monica, a special salute on Saturday in South County is making my Monday morning. I want you all to say hello to Dwight Johnson. He's a Korean War veteran, and he got all bundled up for a parade in his honor. Aww. Family, friends, and the county police, they all surprised him and rolled by his home on Cherry View Lane to celebrate his 90th birthday. Lights flashing and horns honking. Happy birthday to you, Dwight, and thank you so much for your service.
Man.
Now, his birthday was actually a few days beforehand, but they're not quite sure what his actual birthday is because of his birth certificate, so they party all the time in his honor.
Well, you know what? No one's braver than a veteran, so those cold temperatures, I'm sure, were nothing for him.
He's like,
I
no.
love
this is nothing.
his mask. 90 never looks so good.
Right? That's my favorite.
So awesome. Happy birthday, Dwight. Still to come here on Today in St. Louis, keeping your kids as safe as you can during COVID, how you can get your child involved in pediatric vaccine trials that are happening right here in St. Louis.
Plus, the state of Missouri unveils its first mass vaccination site in the St. Louis area where you could soon get your first dose.
And if you are just joining us on this Monday morning, President's Day, we are in storm alert. The snow continues to fall across the bi-state. This is a live look for you at Chesterfield. And if you see there at the bottom right hand of your screen, 1 degree outside. Feels even worse. Anthony is tracking the snow totals when we come back.
6:15 on a very snowy Monday morning commute. Now, we've been talking about just how dangerous the roads are already this morning. We're taking a live look from where Ryan Dean is this morning on the Tam Avenue overpass. So 64 drivers, you've already had a few issues. We have the biggest on 44 down near Washington. Only a lane's getting by there. We'll check about that and any other crashes coming up for you in just minutes.
Here are the top 3 COVID-19 stories to start your Monday morning. The state of Missouri will hold its first mass vaccination event in the immediate St. Louis area this weekend. It will be held on Saturday on UMSL's campus. You'll have to register at the state's COVID vaccine website. 50 million Americans have received at least 1 dose of the vaccine. The CDC says 13 million of them have received both shots. 10.3% of Missourians have received at least the first shot. Illinois has nearly 11% vaccinated. As the number of people getting the vaccine goes up, COVID cases across the country drop. For the first time since early November, the U.S. is averaging fewer than 100,000 new cases per day. The CDC says with the new variants, it's important that we continue COVID protocols like wearing face masks and social distancing.
Well, Rennie, we have big news this morning on 2 trials to get children vaccinated, and it's happening right in our very own backyard. Washington University was chosen to be part of both of these trials. So here's what we know for you this morning. One will be for the Moderna vaccine. That's for children 12 years old and younger. The other will be with Johnson & Johnson. That will test the vaccine from birth to 17 years old. Now, the hospital plans to launch these trials at the end of March or early April, and they're hoping to recruit a diverse group of participants. Pfizer's vaccine is already authorized for children 16 and up, but the company is currently testing it on children 12 to 15. Oxford's AstraZeneca will also be starting a trial for children at the end of this month. That will be for ages 6 to 17. Now, if you are interested in signing up your child for the vaccine trial happening at WashU, you can find a link to this story on the KSDK app under the As Seen on TV section. And remember, you can find out very easily if your county is taking registrations right now and how to sign up by just texting the word vaccine to this number here, 314-444-5125. Please do not call. This is a text-only line.
6:17. Now, if you do have to head out this morning, we were mentioning it's already a rough one. That 44 crash causing some big delays downtown. We told you early on the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge in the eastbound direction closed yesterday, and it will be until the 28th for that bridge maintenance. You can see we've got more red on the map now, more volume, but also keeping the speed down with just how bad the roads are already. 64 eastbound, a crash at Maryville Center Drive. We're going to start off and take a look for drivers right near the Stan Musial on Highway 70. You can see barely some pavement, and then again we have some issues where people are just sliding off, getting off the roadway. That crash 55 northbound at 270, I mentioned, really watch those ramps this morning. This is downtown, as I've been mentioning, 44 eastbound at Washington. It was in the inside lanes. Looks like they're trying to push it over to the right so you can get by there in the left 2 lanes. Look at all the snow at 64 and Maryville Center Drive as you come up eastbound, working that crash. So definitely tapping the brakes as you move through the Chesterfield Valley. We had earlier ones on 70 at St. Charles Rock Road and 170 at St. Charles Rock Road. The St. Charles County area, here's the Page Extension, 370, and out where the snow is falling really heavy in Wentzville. Coming up in Jefferson County, that actually looks a lot better down south, and also even on 44, 141 as you come across Lindbergh, Lee May Ferry area, and Illinois drivers. Let's check in for you here on the Poplar Street Bridge. Now, that looks fantastic, but again, could have changing conditions. At 6:19, let's check in with our Joe Young. He's on 55 in the northbound direction, heading into the downtown area. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning, Monica. Yeah, I'm passing Virginia Avenue right now. And as you can see, there are 2 clear lanes. Now, the passing lane kind of patchy with snow, so just use caution if you're using that. I'm going about 50 miles an hour right now, and people are slowing down, which is the good news. I'm heading down to that downtown area of 44 in Madison to check out those wrecks. I'll bring you a live look at this morning's commute, but for now, let's send it downtown.
All right, thank you, Joe. Let's switch gears, talk about the forecast for the day ahead. You saw what the roads look like now. Let's get you up to speed with what we're expecting for later on. So you see this area of low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico. This is the same one that brought the snow to Texas over the weekend. And now you see that dark blue that's moving into Louisiana and Arkansas. This is that next round of snow for us. That moves in about lunchtime into the afternoon. That's when the travel will be the worst today. Afternoon and evening hours. So you can see right now this little first batch of snow that's come into St. Louis is starting to push north. So you folks in South County, Jefferson County starting to dry out a little bit. Same deal down towards the 44 corridor to Franklin County. So things are starting to improve south of St. Louis when it comes to the snowfall. But then in St. Louis Metro, North County up towards Alton, O'Fallon, back towards Troy, you still do have the snow coming down. Even on the Illinois side, Belleville starting to dry out, Greenville, Carlisle all starting to dry out. So this will be the trend this morning. We'll catch a little bit of a break before we get that next round of heavier snow that moves in this afternoon. So there's your look in St. Charles, and you can see every now and again you get the cars that travel through the lanes, and that clears away some of the snow, but you definitely have partially to all covered roads this morning. So as we go through the day, we'll see the temperatures climb out of the single digits. Yeah, it is 0 right now in Chesterfield. You factor in the wind, and it feels like we're 10 to 15 degrees below 0 this morning. So not a day you want to have a breakdown on the roadways. Just make sure you got all the things you need in the car for the day ahead. So as we get into the afternoon, this is 10 o'clock in the morning. This next band of snow starts to move. That'll be with us until lunchtime, into the early afternoon and evening. And then by tonight, all of this should start to wind down around midnight. So here are your wind chills this morning. Again, we're talking 20 below in Sullivan, 23 below in Rolla, certainly the coldest air we've seen so far this season. Highs today will struggle to get to near 10, so that's it. And with blustery winds all day long, those wind chills will stay below 0 through the day. So we're expecting 6 to 8 inches of snow here in St. Louis Metro. That includes St. Charles, Franklin, Jefferson, and then the higher amounts farther south and east you go over towards Mount Vernon, down towards Carbondale, and that's where you'll have the potential of getting upwards of 10 to 12 inches of snowfall by the time this thing wraps up for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a dry day, cold, a little sunshine before our next round of snow. Yeah, more snow moves in for Wednesday and Thursday, and maybe a couple more inches by then. So good news, the kids have the day off. Get the sleds ready, parents, and make sure those kids are bundled up too.
Coming up on Today in St. Louis, President Biden is tackling gun laws the stricter rules he wants Congress to pass.
And big news from the royal family, the Valentine's Day announcement from Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle. Let's take a look now at the headlines from across the country. Shootings at 2 different malls this weekend left 1 dead and sent several people to the hospital. One happened in Phoenix. 2 men were hospitalized after an argument ended in gunshots. A 3rd person was killed. And then another shooting happened at a South Carolina mall where 3 people were injured, one of them seriously. Police are still looking for the suspect in that incident. Democrats say they are now turning their focus to a COVID bill following the wrap of former President Trump's impeachment trial. The Senate voted on Saturday to acquit Trump on charges. He incited the deadly U.S. Capitol attack last month. Every Democrat voted to convict, along with 7 Republicans. It's actually the most bipartisan impeachment vote in American history, but it did fall short of the 67 votes needed for conviction. The royal family is expanding. Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan Markle are expecting their 2nd child. They announced the big news on Valentine's Day. The 2 were married in 2018 and had their first baby, Archie, in 2019. Last year, the couple announced they were stepping back from their roles as senior royals. They now live in California.
Today's pet for adoption comes from the Humane Society of Missouri. Let's say a good Monday morning to Harley. Oh, yeah. She's a 1-year-old hound mix. She would love to go on a walk with you, maybe even play outside and use those big brown puppy eyes to get a few extra treats. If you're interested in Harley, give the Humane Society of Missouri a phone call. Now it's time for Sammy Stars, and this is Queen Pepper. Queen Pepper. The 14-year-old pup apparently likes things her way. Her hobbies include barking, sleeping, and eating hot dogs. Wait a minute, sounds like me. We want to say thanks to Katie for sending in this picture. If you'd like to see your pet on TV, tweet us a picture and a little information using that hashtag SammyStars.
Well, if you're just joining us this morning, we are waking up in storm alert right now. Let's show you a live look here at the snow falling in Wentzville. We have winter weather team coverage all across the bi-state to get you where you need to go safely this morning. It's all coming up in our next half hour. Stay with us.